Доброго дня, це медіа.
Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine, Odessa. We continue our working today. Now we are having with us Oleksandr Slavskyi, head of the regional office of the State Property Fund of Ukraine in Odesa and Mykolaiv regions. Oleksandr will tell us about privatization of the first port in Ukraine, the unified property complex of the state enterprise Ust-Dunaisk Sea Trade Port. The auction is ongoing right now. Oleksandr, the floor is yours. I would like to welcome everyone. Why is it important, and why have we decided to have a briefing today? This is the first time for Ukraine to put the whole port on the auction. Before that, some assets were given to the private hands through executive services or using different type of long-term rent agreements. And there was also an attempt to make the concession of the sea commercial ports. But this time, this is for the first time we're talking about the privatization of the whole port. This means that all assets of the port will be handed over to the private ownership. The auction is going right now, and we are observing this happening right now. Just a brief information about the port in question. We speak about Port Point Kilia in the 4 Portova Street. That includes 43 objects with the general area of 4,614 square meters. 2 more facilities in Vilkovo, 2 Privatization Street, 201 Ust-Dunaisk Street, and 46 Privatization Street. The island of Shabash, a service bay for light locomotives. The facility also includes 15 ships, 4 moorings, and 6 vehicles. Why do we believe that the privatization of this port is of interest now? This is the smallest port of Ukraine, and historically it was not profitable. And for example, in 2019, the loss amounted to 22,000 hryvnias, in 2020, 308,000 hryvnias, in 2021, 222,000 hryvnias, and only the last year, when other ports were out of operations or had their activities limited, the Ust-Dunaisk port became of interest again. And we have now significant profits from Rini and Ismail ports through the leasing agreements. That's why we believe that this is the right point to privatize this facility. Moreover, the decision to privatize the facility was made 2 years ago. But the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 hindered the process. But the auction is going right now. Can we show this? How is it going? How it is going? Yes, we can now see the bids. We can now see the auction on the screen. The auction started 10 past noon. We had 8 participants, and the initial price was 60 million hryvnias. So this is the balance value of all the assets of the port. But the closed proposals, that the participants submitted during registration, the amount was 131 million hryvnias. That was the 5th participant. But now we have 150 million hryvnias from one of the participants, the participant number 8. I would like to bring your attention to the fact that this auction is online on Prozora Sales, which is not related to the State Property Fund. We can't see how many participants we had before the auction. We can't see closed bids. And we, as journalists or other people observing this online, can see the numbers of the participants, the reference numbers. And the Prozorro sale is a safe system to prevent administrative and other interferences. And only when the auction is over, we'll be able to see who participated in this and who is the winner. The State Property Fund will check the winner of the auction if for example, if the winner is not on the sanction lists or whether they represent the aggressor country. If everything's clear, if everything's fine, the winner will be able to conclude the contract in the future. So we are waiting now for the results of the auction. The cargo turnover in 2022 surged significantly, dramatically, and this is due to the fact that the port started operating in April 2022, comparing to other ports that started operating only in September. Cargo turnover in 2019 was 71,000 tons, and this amount is very low. But in April-December 2022, cargo turnover reached 200,000 tons, which is 150 small vessels, approximately. The main cargoes are grain, corn, wheat, rapeseed, sunflower, as well as salt, 10,000 tons. The port point is located on the 54th kilometer of the Danube River. The passport depth at the pier is 3 meters. The actual depth is 1.5 meter. And I believe that the private investor will also invest in dredging and in modernizing assets, and this will boost the development of the Danube River. And this, in its turn, will boost the development of business not only in Bessarabia, but in the whole of Ukraine. And this will increase the cargo turnover of grains and other cargoes. So we should now wait for the last bid, 150,333,000, and you can see that this is the latest proposal of participant number 2, increasing the previous proposal of participant number 8 by 333,000 hryvnia. So we just need to wait for 10 seconds for the completion of this round, and I believe that the participants will fight for the first place. 159 million hryvnias as of the first round. We are going to have 2 more rounds. I would like to ask you, when is the auction over? And the second question, according to the conception of infrastructure development, all ports were supposed to be privatized in Ukraine, except for those who are of strategic significance. Is it possible under the martial law? Have you been preparing the privatization of other ports? The auction will take around 30-40 minutes more. After the auction, the technical protocol of Prozorro will be published, and everyone will be able to see the results of the auction on Prozorro. And there will be the information about the winner and about the bids. Of course, we will analyze everything. This is very interesting when it comes to defining the market price and defining the auction strategy. As for the preparation of other ports, we are going to have the auction on the 31st of January for an asset. This is the state enterprise Progress, and this is not near the Odesa port facility. In the rear of some of the berths closer to water, and we believe that this asset is of interest of those who are interested in logistics, but this is not a port itself. And I believe that by the end of January and in early February, we will be able to put on auction Belgorod-Dnistrovsky commercial seaport. And these are the only ports that have been given to Odesa and Mykolaiv regional office of the State Property Fund to be put on privatization. And I believe that depending on the results of the auction, our colleagues from the Ministry of Infrastructure will make a decision. So we have been controlling the situation, and this is quite a nervous process. And we believe that this mechanism will be successful. We will analyze everything. And this will define our future work in terms of privatizing the next assets. And isn't it the first privatization in Odessa region since the beginning of the martial law? No. I would like to remind that the privatization wasn't blocked in September last year. From the end of February until the beginning of September, there was no privatization. The privatization auctions of quite interesting objects like Orion were conducted. We are waiting for the lot to be paid and to sign the sales agreement. But some assets were handed over to the private enterprises. And it was very interesting to observe auction in Shiraevo that was a building of 100 square meters. So that was quite a small lot. We didn't know how to find the interested entities. That's why we addressed local media and the territorial community. We had the information campaign in local groups, and we had around 10 participants. Those were like physical entities, but the final price was around 30,000 hryvnias, comparing to the initial price of 10,000 hryvnias. Of course, this amount is not big, but this is of interest due to a different reason, because the building that had not been used for a quite long time was of interest for private entities. This will be for the new owner. The new owner will decide how to use this building, and this is very good for revitalizing the asset. Thank you. Thank you to telling about the facility. We hope that the ports will be put on privatization in the future as well. We will observe the monitoring. We will observe the activities of the regional office of the State Property Fund, and we will publish the results of the privatization of Ust-Dunaisk Sea Port in our channel. Stay tuned this week with us.
Дякую.